Okay, time. Hello guests, my name is Ian and I run a small coffee shop in London called Formative Coffee. Now over the years, many people have asked me what that name means. And it comes from my passion in coffee, which is in creating formative experiences. These moments of insight and delight serve to draw us deeper into coffee, and it's experiences like these that brought me into coffee in the first place. So today, all I want to do together is share a formative coffee experience. This always begins with sourcing exceptional coffee. Now today we're starting with our espresso course. After this, I've sourced a Colombian coffee, specifically from the Quindío region and Finca El Placer. This white honey processed geisha is grown at 2,000 meters above sea level. That high altitude means a slow maturation of the cherry and therefore more complex sugar, carbohydrate, and lipid development. This, in tandem with the inherent complexity of the geisha and that delicate white honey process, means that we can expect complex and floral espressos, with that florality coming through as a flavor note of bergamot in our espresso course. Now, if we've managed to source exceptional coffee, the second step in creating a formative experience is, of course, in roasting it. And today, I'm using a coffee that's been roasted 6 weeks ago in a Lorraine. That's the white honey geisha. And I use a 15% development time ratio, a steadily decreasing rate of rise, and 204 degrees Celsius end temperature to ensure that we preserve that vibrant florality. But I also wanted to make sure that we had sweet espressos without sacrificing transparency. And so I used a relatively short total roast time of 7.5 minutes, extending the glass transition phase. Now, if we've sourced exceptional coffee and we've managed to roast it well, the third step is, of course, come here and brew it. Now today I'm using a 22-gram dose, a 60-gram yield, and a 31-second contact time. This is a recipe which is designed for clarity and balance. And I'm brewing at a temperature of 94 degrees Celsius. That's the temperature at which I perceive the most flavor intensity, really allowing a note of white grapefruit to shine through. But if we're truly looking to create exceptional experiences for our guests, it's not enough to satisfy ourselves with these 4 variables. Instead, we should look at all the variables pre and post extraction which can affect our guests' experience. Pre-extraction, we can consider puck density, for example. So today I've shaken your ground coffee in these blind tumblers, which serves to mimic the process of densification in which fines are trapped in the pores of coarser particles, resulting in a denser puck, and therefore a higher, but also more consistent and even extraction. Today, our extraction percentage is 22.5%, at which I perceive the most balanced cup and a clear flavor note of yuzu. Post-extraction, I will be extracting your espressos over frozen spheres in order to capture more volatile aromatic compounds, giving us more flavor clarity and transforming in the espresso what was a flavor note of generic tea into a specific flavor note of green tea. Now, if we've gotten this far, then it's time to actually come together as a team and evaluate. And I found it really useful at Formative to use a uniform evaluation process inspired by this very competition, so that whenever we come together, despite differences in skill and expertise, when we taste together, we can grow together. So today, that's the process I'd like you to follow. After evaluating crema, I'd like you to stir front to back 6 times to incorporate that crema, and then you can deposit your used spoon in the green glass. Then take 2 sips. On the first sip, please consider your tactile experience. Here, you can expect a low to medium weight and a silky texture with a slight, pleasant green tea dryness. And for your flavor notes, you can expect green tea, white grapefruit, yuzu, and bergamot. Now, if you missed any of those descriptors, or if you miss anything in the future courses, you'll find them all on those plates just in between your trays. Judges, we've seen so far the power of sourcing, roasting, and brewing in creating a formative experience. Now, we're going to move on in a moment to our milk course, or we'll consider further the special characteristics that go into every formative experience. But for now, I'm going to give you a minute just to evaluate these espressos, and then we'll come back together. There we go. Thank you very much. Hiya. There you are. Thank you. Hi. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll give you another 20 seconds on those espressos, judges. Okay. Now, at Formative, we recognize how important it is for every customer interaction that we try to execute an exceptional experience. And so when it comes to milk, we go right back to the beginning of that sourcing, roasting, and brewing process. For this course, I've sourced another Colombian coffee, this time from the Cauca region, and specifically Finca Paraíso 92. This yellow Bourbon undergoes 2 long anoxic fermentations. In the first of those fermentations, Saccharomyces pastorianus, a yeast commonly used in beer production, is introduced. And here it highlights tropical fruit notes, specifically of mango in our milk course. And I've roasted this coffee to highlight sweetness and body with an 18% development time ratio. And for this course, I'm using the same dose, 22 grams, but instead a yield of 55 grams to highlight flavor intensity. Now, if we're looking to do something truly extraordinary, drawing our customers in and bringing them further in their coffee journey, we found it really important at Formative that we be willing to combine tradition with innovation. So representing tradition in our milk course today, 50% of the milk that I'm using is a freeze-distilled dairy milk from a Jersey herd, bringing us sweetness and creaminess. The other 50% representing innovation is a freeze-distilled oat milk, which facilitates a more structured, positive acidity and more transparency to the underlying coffee. More in keeping with the goals of specialty coffee, this modern milk drink helps to draw our customers in through a traditional medium, but transforms their understanding of coffee. Now, I'm steaming that milk to 55 degrees Celsius, which will result in a drinking temperature for you of 48 degrees Celsius. To help achieve this, I'd like you to use your clean spoon to stir 6 times in a circular motion. And again, you can deposit your used spoon in those green glasses. Now for our flavor notes in this course, expect mango, peach, rum raisin, and cacao nib. And again, if you missed any of that, please just refer to those trays in between. Thank you. So far we've seen how important it is to source well, roast well, brew well, to have a uniform evaluation process, and to be willing to combine tradition and innovation. For this course, once I've served all 4 drinks, I'll give you approximately 45 seconds to evaluate before we move on to our signature drink. Thank you. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Now, for our signature drink, I wanted to take all that we've learned today, take it a step further. You see, it's in the cafe when we deliver exceptional customer service that we truly engage with the customer, bringing together their ideas and passion and our skill and expertise. And so this beverage is a combination of all of those things, the ideas and passion of the guests and the skill and expertise of the barista. Because I've invited some of my guests behind the bar to taste with me my espresso and bring along and suggest potential signature drink ingredients. And this is the drink that we came up with together. It starts with 4 single shots of espresso of that geisha that we have in the espresso course, same recipe, which have been chilling in here, contributing sweetness, acidity, and complexity. To this, and I'm adding all the ingredients directly into the hyperchiller, I'm adding 24 grams of bilberry syrup, made by combining equal parts cane sugar and bilberry over a 40-degree heat for 2 hours before straining. Now, I chose bilberries because they share many volatile aromatic compounds with this particular coffee, and this syrup balances sweetness and acidity and creates a new flavor note of raspberry in our signature drink. Next, I'm adding 24 grams of juice from a tin of pineapples, suggested by one of my guests who felt that the texture, that silky texture in the espresso, and the texture of this juice was quite similar. And this was not without reason, because as I researched, I discovered that they share very similar levels of oleic acid, a fatty acid, which gave us that silky texture. Now here, it's going to interact with the espresso to create a new flavor note of peach. Finally, I'm adding 48 grams of whey made from the discarded liquid from the dairy freeze distillation course in our milk course. We strain 200 grams of that through a paper filter for 8 hours. Now, I chose this not just from a sustainability point of view, but also because I wanted to introduce a lactic component, which I've found heightens my perception of flavor clarity. This lactic component gives us a sensation of creaminess without the tactile component of the creaminess. And the whey interacts with the espresso to give us our final flavor note of white grape. Now, I've mixed all of those ingredients together in the hyperchiller, homogenizing, but also helping us reach a drinking temperature of 8 degrees Celsius, at which I perceive the most balanced cup. And I'm pouring through this splitter to equally divide into these 4 gimlet glasses, which I've found help accentuate my perception of flavor intensity in this course. Now, to evaluate, simply sip, holding the stem. You can take as many sips as you want, and you can start right away if you like. Now, guests, I believe that all of us, even now on this stage, are still on a journey in coffee, a journey of exploration and excitement. If we go on that journey together rather than alone, engaging with one another, sharing expertise, perspective, and sharing our skills, then we'll grow not just as individuals, but as an industry as a whole. This is the idea that brought me into the coffee in the first place. And it's the idea that sits at the heart of every formative experience. It's been my joy to share this experience with you. Thank you very much, judges. Feel free to enjoy your signature drink. Thank you. Time.
All right, let's give them a huge round of applause.